Okay, so here we go. New Zealand to ban cigarettes for future generations. Anyone born after 2008 will not be able to buy cigarettes or tobacco products in their lifetime, under a law expected to be enacted next year. We want to make sure young people never start smoking, Health Minister Dr. Aisha Verrill said. The move is part of a sweeping crackdown on smoking announced by New Zealand's Health Ministry on Thursday. Doctors and other health experts in the country have welcomed the world-leading reforms which will reduce the access to tobacco and restrict nicotine levels in cigarettes. It will help people quit or switch to less harmful products and make it much less likely that young people get addicted to nicotine, said Professor Janet Hook from the University of Otago. The crackdown has been met with mixed reactions. I reckon it's a good move, really, one man told Reuters news agencies, because right now there's a lot of young kids walking around with smokes in their mouths. Public are asking how they're getting these smokes. And it's also good for myself too, because I can save more money. However, others have warned that the move may create a black market for tobacco, something the Health Ministry's official impact statement does acknowledge, noting customs will need more resource to enforce border control. This is all 100% theory and 0% substance, Sonny Kaushal, chairman of the Dairy and Business Owners Group, a lobby for local convenience stores, told New Zealand's Stuff news site. There's going to be a crime wave. Gangs and criminals will fill the gap. New Zealand is determined to achieve a national goal of reducing its national smoking rate to 5% by 2025, with the aim of eventually eliminating it altogether. At the moment, 13% of New Zealand's adults smoke, with the rate much higher among the indigenous Maori population, where it soars to almost a third. Maori also suffer a higher rate of disease and death. New Zealand's Health Ministry says smoking causes 1 in 4 cancers and remains the leading cause of preventable death for its 5 million strong population. The industry has been the target of legislators for more than a decade now. The number of shops authorised to sell cigarettes will be drastically reduced to under 500 from about 8,000, officials say. So yeah, I don't really know how I feel about it. I feel it seems a bit strange in that, you know, a lot of these more progressive countries, and you would certainly say that New Zealand and Canada are probably two of the most progressive countries in the world. They're certainly the most woke. But they would generally talk about, you know, marijuana and other things like that. They would say that they should legalize it because, and there's 100% an argument for that, because, you know, people are gonna get it either way, so you may as well be able to kind of keep tabs on it by legalizing it. Yeah, you also end up with money going, you know, somehow the money is going to go back into the community via taxes and stuff like that. Whereas if you're just having the black market sell it, that money is just going to go to, you know, criminals and whatnot. It just seems very authoritarian, and they always target smokers, but they don't ever target alcohol. Like in the UK, where I am, for the last, 10, 12 plus years, all cigarettes are just in these kind of khaki, browny, olive green packets with a picture of some horrendous wound, and then some really obvious statement like, babies that smoke will die younger than babies that don't. I get it. They want to make people healthy. Smoking is not a good habit, but then neither is drinking. There are many things that are not good habits that never seem to be targeted. And again, just the whole kind of authoritarian thing, I don't really know how I feel about the government just trying to stop it by, you know, outlawing it completely. I mean, said at the beginning that, you know, if you're born after 2008, you just won't be able to buy cigarettes. Yeah, anyone born after 2008 will not be able to buy cigarettes or tobacco products. So that's cigars and rolling tobacco, chewing tobacco. If anybody outside the team still uses chewing tobacco in their lifetime. So yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this one. Yeah, let me know how you feel. And then obviously next we have Jussie Smollett.
It's offensive, and I absolutely resent that narrative. And it's unfair. It's unfair to the investigation. It's unfair to, I hate this word, but it's unfair to the victim.
Okay, here we go. Jussie Smollett, US actor found guilty of staging racist, homophobic attack on himself, but ex-Empire star will appeal the verdict. Lord knows why he would do that. A jury has convicted the US actor on five of 6 charges he staged a racist anti-gay attack on himself and lied to Chicago police about it. The sixth one was basically they did not find him guilty on changing his statement, and that was that he'd originally said they were white guys, and then when he started realizing that the jig was up, that he changed it to light-skinned people. So they found him not guilty on that, and yeah, it's probably just because they didn't want to go guilty on all counts because everyone's so frightened of that nowadays. I don't know why, but US actor Jussie Smollett has been found guilty of staging a racist, homophobic attack on himself in what prosecutors said was a bid to gain sympathy and bolster his career. Of course, he was on the show Empire on Fox, and at the time, people kind of assumed that he did this to get a pay rise and just to get more clout. Prosecutors said the 39-year-old former Empire star lied to police when he told them that he was accosted on a street by two masked strangers in January 19. Of course, at the time he said it was two white MAGA supporters wearing MAGA hats. The alleged assault was reported to police, prompting a massive investigation that a detective said included around 24 officers and 3,000 staff hours. The verdict came after nearly a 2-week trial in which two brothers testified that Smollett recruited them to fake an attack on him near his home in central Chicago, a very progressive city, for those that don't know. This is Obama's city, they call it sometimes. Smollett repeatedly denied these claims. The Cook County Circuit Court jury, which deliberated for 9 hours, found Smollett guilty of 5 of the 6 felony disorderly conduct counts he faced, 1 for each time he was accused of lying to the police. As the verdict was read in the courtroom, Smollett stood and faced the jury, showing no visible reaction. Abimbola Osundairo, who worked with Smollett on the Chicago set of Empire, and his brother Olabingo Osundairo said Smollett orchestrated the hoax, telling them to use racist and homophobic slurs to put a noose around his neck and rough him up in view of surveillance camera. They also said Smollett paid them $3,500 to stage the attack in an effort to raise his show business profile. Smollett said he was attacked by Trump supporters. When Smollett reported the alleged attack to the police, he told them he was attacked by supporters of then-President Donald Trump, igniting political divisions around the country. During the trial, Smollett testified about being the victim of what he said was a hate crime, telling the jury there was no hoax, calling the brothers liars and saying their account was 100% false. His defense lawyers argued that the brothers attacked the actor, who is gay and black, because they were homophobic and didn't... Okay, that's just funny because we now know that one of the brothers gave Jussie a... let's just say that he was playing whack-a-mole with Jussie and just Jussie. So because they were homophobic and did not like who he was, even though they were friends with him, and like I said, one of them had, let's say just friendly relations. They also alleged the pair made up the story about the attack being staged to get money from Smollett, and that they told him that they wouldn't testify against him if he paid them $1 million. Wow. Following the verdict, special prosecutor Dan Webb called the verdict a resounding message by the jury that Mr. Smollett did exactly what we said he did. Gloria Rodriguez, attorney for Abimbola and Osundairo, said her clients could not be more thrilled and pleased with the result, but understand there is a lot of healing that needs to happen. Okay, so obviously with that being a mainstream, a sort of legacy media site, they're not going to go into the more juicy, excuse the pun, details. But essentially, as most of you will know, I'm sure, as I said, he came, the very start, which no one seems to be mentioning, is there was a letter that was sent to the Fox studios, and it had a picture of someone being hung in like a Sharpie, and then it said something, a bunch of slurs like die, gay, FAG, and something else. And then shortly after that, about a month after that, when obviously it wasn't getting the desired attention or effect, was when this event happened. It was all over the news. Don Lemon was saying how terrible it was. There was that tearful interview on one station. I can't remember whether it was ABC or MSNBC.
They called me a. They called me a. There's no which way you cut it. I don't need some MAGA hat as the cherry on top of some racist sundae.
And it just seemed really odd at the time. Like, he's going out at 2 o'clock in the morning in a polar vortex. It's minus 20 degrees. He's going for a Subway sandwich, like a millionaire celebrity is walking to go and get a Subway sandwich at 2 in the morning in a polar vortex. He then said that he was accosted by 2 white men in MAGA hats. But he fought back. And I remember he was crying, saying, I fought back just so that I could show people that you can be gay and fight back. It was super weird, man.
You know, there's a level of pride there. We live in a society where, as a gay man, you are considered somehow to be weak. And I'm not weak. I am not weak. And we are, as a people, are not weak.
And then he went back to his hotel room with the noose on that he said they'd placed on him. Rather than, like, if that did happen, I assume he would just rip it off and be like, get off me. And still had the bleach on him. And called the police, waited 40 minutes for the police, and then when they were there, he still had everything on, and he told them that's what happened. Shortly afterwards, within, I'd say, about 10 days, it came to light that there was a guy that owned a store who had seen these two Nigerian guys who were over here working on a visa, so they're probably terrified that they're going to end up either in jail or deported and never allowed back in the country. They also want to be actors, kind of want to be everything, like they did a bit of everything. I guess they're just kind of people that just want to be famous, and whatever the reason is doesn't really matter. So yeah, it turned out that they had been to the store and they had bought. I can't believe why they would do this and think they could get away with it. But at the same store, they bought the two MAGA hats, the noose, the bleach, and something else, and they paid for it by check. Genius levels of criminality. Jussie also paid them by check. So yeah.
Young members of the LGBTQ community, young black children, to know how strong that they are, to know the power that they hold in their little pinky.
That happened. But then I would say the more worrying thing than all of that, because we all know how many fake, hate crimes that go on, the levels, I think 2 years ago, it was as high as like 80% of like hate crimes were fake. That's you as well, LeBron. But yeah, the more worrying thing was how the sort of Democratic politicians, especially like establishment Democrats, just closed ranks, called in a load of favors. We had Michelle Obama ringing Kim Fox, who I think she was like the prosecutor. I don't know, you guys have different language, but something like the prosecutor, very important anyway. Lead attorney or attorney general or something like that of Chicago or Illinois. Anyway, she was phoned by Michelle Obama, who was telling her to drop the charges, and I think she dropped like 16 charges or something. And it was only when the Chicago police were like, hold on, like, we're not going to have this. Ironic, because we know there's a little bit of corruption there as well. But maybe they're trying to root it out. It was only when they were like, we're not having this. You can't just cause us like $700,000 worth of costs, all because little Jussie wanted a pay rise. That they brought something else forward. So yeah, very. I mean, it's good that this happened. It's good that he was brought to justice. We'll see what his punishment is. But it's very sad that we live in a society where there is such a lack of racism and homophobiaism that you have to pay a black gay dude to commit a crime about black gayness on another black gay dude. I mean, you cannot. It blows my frickin' mind. Anyway, yeah, so, and then I think we're probably going to wait about 8 weeks until we find out what his punishment is going to be. Let me know what you think his punishment should be, because I'm split on this. I don't know whether to waste the money, like, knowing that he's just going to he'll have a nice time in jail. He's not going to, they'll all love him because he's got money and he's got skills. And, he wouldn't be serving much time anyway. I don't know whether to just kind of make him pay back all of the money, like every penny plus more. And are they going to accept him back in at Hollywood? Of course they are. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. And I will see you again soon.
And this is just a friendly fight. I will never be the man that this did not happen to. I am forever changed.
Winston stopped writing, partly because he was suffering from cramp. He did not know what had made him pour out this stream of rubbish